Well, tell that to the Pope. What did you say? Tell that to the Pope.
All right, people. I'm sure by now all of you would have heard of this recent feud between American-born Pope Leo and President Trump. Now, first of all, I just want to say one thing. If the Pope can make political comments, then why can't he be criticized for his political opinions? Why? I don't understand why all of a sudden they're making Trump out to be some sort of an evil person or blasphemer for simply criticizing Pope Leo for his, I'm sorry to say, pathetic, woke, lefty talking points. Why can't we criticize him? Yes, if he was just talking about his religion, which didn't affect the rest of us, then sure, we could leave him alone. But Pope Leo is a very political, and to be fair, most of these popes in recent memory, going as far back as Pope John Paul, they are all very political and for some reason very lefty. If you want to blame anyone for the decline in Christianity, then the last 3 or 4 popes can be blamed for it. So let me give you a timeline of this recent feud between Pope Leo and President Trump. So as you know, Pope Leo is the first American-born pope. He was elected in May 2025 after Pope Francis's death in April 2025. He has been a heavy critic of President Trump because of Trump's centrist or right-leaning policies. So here's a timeline of this recent feud. On April 12, 2026, Trump fires the first direct shot in a lengthy Truth Social post. He calls Pope Leo weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, accuses him of thinking it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon and he claims that Leo was only elected because he was an American and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. Fair point. And tells the pontiff to get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great pope, not a politician. Absolutely fair. That's a fair point. If you're going to make political statements, then of course you're going to get a political rebuttal. What's wrong with that? If you don't want to be criticized for your political opinions, then keep your mouth shut. Trump adds that Leo's stance is hurting him very badly and more importantly is hurting the Catholic Church. Shortly afterward, Trump posts an AI-generated image depicting himself as a Christ-like figure healing the sick, now widely criticized as blasphemous. Okay, now I saw a lot of American Christians were criticizing Trump for doing that. Now I'm an atheist, so in my opinion, blasphemy is a victimless crime, okay? I know a lot of my audience is Christian, but guys, you can be offended and you can criticize President Trump, but let me tell you, the word blasphemy does not exist in Western vocabulary, at least for the last 100 years or so. If you want to reintroduce that word, then you risk becoming an Islamic society because there's one civilization, if you want to call them that still believes in blasphemy and punishing people for blasphemy. That is the Islamic civilization. And we all know what happens to a society when it becomes overtly religious. So after that, the next afternoon, Trump doubles down in comments to reporters. He says, I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo, describes the Pope as a very liberal person who doesn't believe in stopping crime, insists he's wrong on the issues and declares he has nothing to apologize for. And then the very next day, Pope Leo responds directly for the first time. He tells reporters, I have no fear of the Trump administration or speaking out loudly of the message of the gospel. So the gospel says it's okay to let hostile nations like the Islamic regime of Iran to acquire nuclear weapons. The hostile terrorist regime of Iran that has killed anywhere between 7,000 to 40,000 people of their own people. That's an important caveat we must not miss. Because when a regime kills its own people, then it has fallen to the absolute depths of depravity. It's one thing to kill enemy civilians as collateral damage, but it's quite another to kill your own civilians just to stay in power. That's the difference between America and Israel and the Islamic regime of Iran. Blessed are the peacemakers and vows to continue to speak out loudly against war, promoting peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships. And guess who is actually exploiting this? The Islamic regime of Iran. They're saying, see, these Epstein people are the enemies of faith. If the Islamic regime of Iran supports your guy, then it means you're on the wrong side. And then on April 14, 2 days ago, on Tuesday night, Trump escalates again on Truth Social, posting, will someone please tell Pope Leo that Iran has killed at least 42,000 innocent, completely unarmed protesters in the last 2 months, and that for Iran to have a nuclear bomb is absolutely unacceptable.
Iran's going to execute 4 more protesters, reportedly, including the first woman protester. What do you tell Iran?
Well, tell that to the Pope. What do you say? Tell that to the Pope.
You want to patch things up with the Pope?
That Iran is going to... Did you just hear that? Iran is going to execute 4 people, including a woman?
Pope Leo doubles down without naming Trump. He stresses that his trip and message for unity and peace offer the message the world needs to hear today, amid suffering from wars, violence, and injustice. Blah, blah, blah. This is the last Truth Social post. Iranian Americans are still supporting President Trump. Have a listen to this. This is the fanatical Islamic regime that Pope Leo is defending.
The Islamic regime on their state TV accidentally admitted to killing 42,000 people. This cleric that you see in the picture here, he actually admits that, and he says if it's for jihad and if it's for Islam, it is 100% worth it, and we will do it all the way. Please share this video to raise awareness. Thank you.
این توهمه که آدم کار کنه.
الان 42,000 نفر کشته شدن.
بیشتر از اینا هم بشه. نصف عالم کشته بشه. امام یه موقعی میفهمودن گیرم که ابرقدرت‌ها همه ما بسیجای دنیا اسلامو به دار بکشن و همه زنانمون هم به اسارت بیارن. برای رسیدن به مقصد میارزه. مقصد
Sorry, there are no subtitles on this, so I'm just taking his word. I doubt it would be a lie because there are a lot of Persian people in the comments, and they would have said that his claim is false. Look at this Pope. We should perhaps be a little less fearful of Islam. Pope Leo, what is wrong with... As I said, if you want to blame anyone for the decline of Christianity, then these are the kind of people that you need to blame. When Muslims destroy Europe, he's sleeping. When Muslims slaughter Christians in Africa, he's sleeping. When Muslims burn churches worldwide, in Pakistan in 2024, I covered that, 2024, 2023, they attacked a Christian neighborhood and they burned down 22 churches in a single day. I bet you didn't hear about it from any pope. But when America bombed a tyrannical regime that wants to destroy the entire human civilization in pursuit of their eschatological goals, then Pope Leo quickly jumps in their defense. And yes, who can forget that the Vatican was the first entity to sign treaties with both Hitler and Mussolini. So, my dear Catholics, if your Pope is going to make political comments, then there's nothing wrong in critiquing his political views.